thrilled that you're here. So,
Sure. What I thought about before you introduce me is I thought I'd do a bit of a quick slideshow chat about social media and some tips that maybe a few of you can benefit from, but also to perhaps your audience who watches this video later might get some benefit out of as well.
that'd be super because we're still behind the power curve for sure. Well, let me tell you about Evan Burrell. I've been watching him, as I said before, on Facebook for many years as a digital media consultant in the nonprofit community volunteer sector. He's expanded his skills to educate local professionals, businesses, and community groups across Australia and beyond to focus on the practical use of social media and how to develop it to brand and market their stories, which is something we all need to do with our Rotary stories. He's an accomplished public speaker, MC, trainer, social media advocate, and hardworking volunteer with Rotary International. You may recognize him best as a service minded superhero. It's easy for him to be a Rotary hero because all Rotarians are superheroes in his eyes. And we all need to promote the heroic acts that we do in the community and around the world. And I can tell you, Evan, Rotary does not do a good enough job promoting all the many things that we do. Uh, Whatever. Uh, I saw recently that Evan was described in the following way: fun, highly entertaining, dynamic, humorous, informative, and edgy. So, if we can figure out a way to get him to our district conference in September, I'd love to do it. But I can tell you, I've liked Evan because he thinks outside the box. He makes things happen and thinks outside the box. So, Evan, I'll return the floor over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you kindly. Um, well, if I don't speak at your conference in September, maybe in a couple of years' time, when we ever finally able to fly around the world again, I can, because I'm visiting North Carolina and South Carolina too, two places I haven't yet visited on that side of the American coast. I've kind of been everywhere else, but it would be nice for some nice bit of hospitality down your way.
Well, I've got a place for you to stay if you ever come out here.
Hey! A warm bed is well. I'm not sure about a warm bed is always welcome, but a bed is always welcome. Thank you kindly for that.
Sure.
So we haven't got a huge amount of people on, but I'm going to quickly talk about social media, and I'm going to share my screen if it is possible. It is possible.
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. So social media is probably a bit of a some people there, I gather, would use social media, and others are a bit new to it all, or it's a bit of a foreign concept. But I want to get your heads around how we can learn some secrets to social media and how to make them successful for your club. And this is the key thing. I'm not trying to get people to join up to social media themselves. But this is you view it as from the benefits to your club. So we'll kickstart this. So whenever we talk about social media, this is the reaction that I normally get from Rotarians. Yep. Social media, and then the opinions start flowing from social media, the goods and the bads and all the benefits from that. But we need to make bold statements about Rotary. And there I am in my Rotary suit and the Rotary superhero shirt. But we need to make bold statements about Rotary because in the daily grind of whatever's happening in people's lives in our communities, people sort of their eyeballs are all over the place. So unless we get out there and really start making some bold statements about who we are as an organization and our organization, we're going to be relegated to a forgotten part of way of life. Rotary Club, I used to remember that. So we need to make bold statements to get people's attention, and to do that, I find social media is the best way and most cost-effective way in being able to reach that audience. But with social media, though, it's not just about, and I'm sure you know about likes. It's not just about how many likes if you've posted something on social media, or your children or whatever grandchildren have. It's not just about how many likes that gets. It's about creating a positive story. So if you think about it from the mindset that, we all, I'm sure we've all known of someone in our life who's a great storyteller, who we'd be happily sit around the campfire and listen to them rattle off a story of old, and we're all engaged in that. And we as humans are attracted to these sorts of stories, stories passed down here, there, and everywhere. And with Rotary, it's no different. It's all about how we create a positive story about us and what we do in the community. And when people ask me, what does Rotary do? So I simply say, well, we help people. It's what we do. As simple as that. We help people. It's what we do. And if that person's interested further and they say, how or what do you do then if you're helping people? Well, then we can talk about what our clubs can do. So our club could be having a water project in the community, or we could be doing this and this or that or that. And then it opens up that way for you to be able to tell these stories. So we need to tell Rotary story. We need to tell Rotary story. Because stories create action. You tell a story about something, you get someone's interest, you maybe ignite someone's passion, they then want to seek further and perhaps become potential new members. Because stories create action, because we are people of action. We are people of action. And so, you've got social media sites, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, you name it. So there are 1 billion people are using TikTok. There's 900 million people are on Instagram each month. 2 billion people are using Facebook each month. So this is where the conversation is happening. Particularly in my country, Australia, we don't have too many community newspapers anymore. They've been just out of business because the demographic has changed. People are getting their news sources and other information from other places. And so for us as Rotarians, we need to insert ourselves more into these sorts of social media sites and talk about our club projects, talk about our clubs, because this is where people are communicating most. This is where people are hanging around. And so you ask yourself, who would you like to read your social media posts? Are you wanting club members to see what what's posted each week? Or are you more looking for an external audience that might want to know more about Rotary and join or donate to the causes? Or do you want, both? I think both is a good thing. You want club members to use your Rotary Club's Facebook page just as another source of information about what's happening in your club. And social media, or certainly Facebook, for example, is a bit more easily updatable than a website, for example. Most websites are pretty static, and they serve their purposes, but Facebook is kind of where the life of the club can be seen and be seen by the public. So that's good to sort of get club members involved in that as well. So I have found some resistance by by some club members about social media and all the rest of it and all the stories that they hear. But again, you be clear about, I want to be clear about the benefits for that. So, you have an open dialogue in your club about it. And social media, it is too big to ignore. It really is. It is too big to ignore. And again, as I said at the start of my presentation, I'm not trying to convince anybody to join it personally. If they don't want to have a Facebook account or whatever, that's fine. But need to see the benefits of your Rotary Club having a Facebook page, So you be clear about the objectives. So you want the club, and you want it for awareness, Rotary Club awareness, because you know one unless you have a Facebook page. The potential new members, if they're going to come along to your club or know anything about your club, they're going to do their research. They're going to look at your website. They're going to look and see what kind of activity you're having on, if you even have a Facebook page. And if you don't, you're a dinosaur as far as they're concerned. So you can, you can contrast that with the other sorts of exposure you get from, sorry, pardon me, from other local media, newspapers, that sort of thing. So here's the benefits of it. You can put a face to Rotary, like I've done with the use of social media for myself. It can strengthen club ties. And it builds support, and it supports recruiting. But see, social media, though, it's a visual medium. It's a visual medium. So what I'm talking about today is hopefully some tips that you will take with you going forward if you use Facebook, or if you use social media personally. And I would like to encourage you to use that to promote Rotary as well. So it's a visual medium. So we need to sort of use inspiring images and actions, and they get people to engage, interact, and like and share and comment. And you think, where will Rotary take you? That long road, the long road to your Rotary journey, where will it take you? And I'm sure Spencer, I think, is in my Rotary graphics and images group. We've got about 9,000 members in there. So, I put out a lot of good quality content, and others do, that can be used by clubs to help send the message. But, these inspiring images, they get actions. So we've got to tell a great visual story. So whether you're engaging with youth exchange students, or you're ending polio, so here are a couple of tips for the do's. And if you manage your own Facebook page account, or if you're watching this recording later, here's what I kind of would like you all to focus on. So happy people, and this is really important. If people, potential members, are looking at what you're posting on Facebook, and they see happy people who look like they're enjoying themselves, then that's something that they want to be a part of. You can edit pictures. There's so many, even on your phone now, there's so many ways of tidying up an image, cropping it and making it look good. I try and steer clear of the cliches, like the big check presentation. It's been done to death. And honestly, in today's world, who pays by check anymore? Find the hook. Find what makes your club different, or what you're talking about, or what you're putting out as the image makes it different, makes people stop from scrolling past and want to read about what the actual story is. So you could have Darth Vader come along to your Rotary Club. I'm sure I think he was talking about sort of how to be a good dad. You could be ending polio at the bottom of the ocean, or being Santa Claus, or you'd have to be pretty desperate to in a bad state to get a shelter box sent to you and have me jumping out of it. Or as we know in our clubs and stuff, how sometimes how hard it is to find a club president, and we've gotten so bad we're now recruiting them early. And there's a little future Rotarian there in the bottom corner. So these are fun images. They're fun. They show they show that sort of fun side and outside the box thinking. But what I normally see, though, in a lot of Rotary clubs, and these are usually at the handover ceremonies or some sort of other club's event, is photos like this. The backs of people's heads. I mean, really, this picture only really would interest barbers and hairdressers. Everybody else not interested in that, So, or perhaps toupee specialists or something. I don't know. So we've got to, as my friend would say, stop it. Don't do this anymore. We've got to stop posting these kind of photographs. The same goes for this. And this has been obviously more prevalent since we're all jumping on Zoom in the last 18 months. But again, it reminds me of that 1970s show, The Brady Bunch. So again, we've got to steer clear of these cliches. Now, another thing that we do is we give out awards, and whatever awards we give out to particular people. And this lady here, her name is Gay. She's ecstatic because she's won the highest award you could possibly ever give in Rotary, and she looks amazed to get it, doesn't she? But of course, if you post a photograph like that on Facebook, I'm going to be sure it's not going to get much traction. And if it is, it's only going to be someone commenting about how miserable she looks. But it's just taking that little bit of time to reframe the photograph. And doesn't that look a lot better? She's just changing the angle a little bit, and she looks like she really is happy to get that award. So you've got to think like that when you're in your clubs and you're taking photographs to put or for either in a bulletin or a newsletter or your weekly, whatever you send out, or on social media. Photos really, as I say, a picture tells 1,000 words, so good photographs sell good stories. So here's a couple of things that I talk about with the don'ts. So you've got the photograph at the top there. If you can see it, it's very, very blurry. That was posted. Again, that makes absolutely zero sense. The photograph in the bottom, and that was the caption that they had with it, you can't miss Rotary in action. Well, I tell you what, I missed it. I did. I missed Rotary in action because all I could see was a couple of old guys sitting there at a table, and one bloke looked like he's fallen asleep. So think, anything out of focus. The photographs of people eating. People don't like having their backs or their bums taken photos of. Pictures that make no sense. But this is the most important one: people not doing anything, just people standing around. That's not people of action. That's people of inaction. So, be careful with what you post. And this is another thing. Always double check before you're putting things out on social media. Just make sure this is the right one. So this is a group of images that this gentleman used, and unfortunately, he must have taken the photograph at the wrong moment because these two lady members look like they've just fallen asleep. So, yeah, not a great selling point for our clubs if this is what people are seeing. Oh, great! Come to Rotary, and you'll be sure to catch up on an hour's sleep at a short notice. Again, with social media, something like this: come to our meeting. Well, stop it. Why don't we try this instead? Hey, Rotary Club of Atlanta, just not too far from you, state just below. Or below. So do you want to help the community? You're invited to come on to our next meeting. The Rotary Club of Atlanta, we meet on Tuesdays at 12 at the internationally renowned Shady Spring Golf Club in Georgia Drive, Atlanta, GA. The Rotary Club of Atlanta is a place to connect, network, have fun, and give back. And you've got a photograph to go with it because you're a club that meets at the golf club. So it's a lot better than just come to our meeting. No one's going to come to your meeting, but if they see this, you're telling people where you are when you meet, and at the bottom is more important is because you're giving people that value proposition. Oh, we can connect here, we can network, we can have fun, and we can give back to our communities. So think about that as well. Always get some assistance. The old saying, the one-man band, it shouldn't really count or apply to these pages because you always have to factor in that someone could get hit by that proverbial bus, and it has happened many a time before that I've encountered where people have set up things in the club, and then they've either left the club or they've passed away or something like that, and they haven't shared that information on, and people either have to start from scratch or they've got 2 or 3 versions of their Rotary Club on social media, which isn't great. So it's always good to get some administrators, some extra helpers to help manage the page. And I talk about setting up a little social media committee for your club as well. It's might only need 3 people, but it's a good way to be strategic. And then schedule some posts in the morning and evening, and they're the best times where people are jumping on social media. So here's some content ideas that I can hopefully inspire you all on all the things that you might want to put out. And this can apply to not only your Rotary Club's page, but also if you use social media personally. Here's some things. So the first thing is talk. This is really important. Talk about Rotary. Talk about Rotary. Tell people why you're involved. If you're a club, talk about your club's key activities. What does your club do that differentiates it from every other Rotary Club in the world, or particularly in your area? So whether you have a car classic, or you do fun runs, or you have a bike classic, or whatever, talk about what your clubs are doing, what your key activities are. Talk about your club projects. So whether you've got a water project in Guatemala, or you do something with Shelter Box or maternal health, talk about what your club's doing. Talk about the connections that your club has to your local community and businesses. So this is important. And I know there's a lot of clubs there that have connections to the local police force, or the mayor or something like that, the local community, the local businesses. I know there's clubs that have been, particularly when World Polio Day came around, I think clubs in Kentucky or something partnered with a couple of Dunkin' Donut franchises and had some purple pinky donuts done for polio. So, talk about the connections, pardon me, that your clubs have to the local community and your businesses, and give them a shout out on social media. Talk about your diverse speakers. As I said, Darth Vader came and spoke to our club, and Only the incredible Hulky spoke to our club last week as well. He talked about anger management. It was a really good session. We didn't feed him chicken, so he was particularly happy. But yeah, if you know who you're going to have coming to your club in the next few weeks, get their bios and put them up. You never know who's going to be looking at what you're posting, and someone may decide, hey, there's someone who I'm quite interested in hearing come along speak, reach out to you and say, hey, I'd like to come along to your meeting. So, it's good to sort of promote who your speakers are. Talk about your club's diverse membership. Give your club members their 15 minutes of fame by posting a photograph of your club member in a short question, answer session. For example, photograph Spencer, for example, up on his club. And how long have you been involved in Rotary? And what do you get out of Rotary? And what's something that you look forward to each week when you come along to your meeting and blah, 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 blah. Showcase your club members. And we're all diverse. We're all diverse in our clubs. Talk about your areas of focus. And this is particularly good. If you're running out of ideas, always kind of tie it back to the areas of focus. So whether you're doing an environment project, perhaps you're cleaning up litter or something from the riverbank, or planting trees, perhaps you're doing something in the peace building and conflict prevention, disease prevention to do with polio, certainly with COVID. Perhaps your clubs are doing work with COVID, either helping to promote the vaccinations, or you're doing something to encourage people in your community to be vaccinated, or you might be on the ground, as sort of COVID marshals and helping people, all that sort of stuff. Talk about water sanitation and hygiene if you're doing some water projects, maternal health or basic education, or if you're doing anything in community economic development. So whatever areas of focus that your clubs are working in, these are great stories to tell, which are hopefully going to interest not only your club members, but other people that might be interested in your club. But also too, it's about making it personal. Social media is about making it personal as well. So like me, I'm either ending graffiti, or I'm dancing as a rapper, or whatever I was doing there, or I'm attending a peace conference. People take an interest in your life and they want to know what you're up to. And if you can showcase Rotary, that's great. So I want you to talk about you, as Uncle Sam would say. I want you to talk about you. Show your pride on social media. Tell people that you're involved in Rotary, that you're a proud member of your Rotary club. No one's going to know about your club unless you tell them. People don't wake up in the morning with no knowledge of Rotary and suddenly decide, do you know what? I'm going to join a Rotary club. This doesn't happen. It happens if people are aware of who you are and your existence. This is why I feel social media is so important. So here's a couple of tips. If you're going to tell a story, make sure you do it with pictures and make them appealing. Don't overload your page. So there's nothing worse than posting 5 times in one day, and then you don't post anything on your club's Facebook page for the next 3 weeks. So, at least 3 times a week is fine. Try to encourage your members to buy into social media and help share your message and share the posts. Get some assistance. Post content that's relevant to your audience. So there's no point, keep it about Rotary, keep it about the mission, what you're doing. Don't put all sorts of weird stuff up that's not likely to catch anyone's attention, or if it does, it's the wrong kind of attention. Think about a social media strategy for your club. Use scheduling and post at the best times of the day. So as I said, the morning and evenings. Be mindful of what you post, and this is really important. Always keep it positive, because people can always come back to things. And as you know, in the media and all the rest of it, people who aren't being overly positive with their social media tend to get something happens to them, or banned, or they get in trouble, or people bring up tweets from 10 years ago of something that they said. So I find it's always good just to be positive, always with that mantra. Don't say anything that would likely to cause upset to your mother. So if you can keep your mum happy, then keep it positive. Then the last thing is have fun. And if we can show that we're having a fun organization, people respond to that. So lastly, tell your story, use the correct branding. So it's nice to see that there's the proper Rotary logos are behind people on the, this logo here, there, the proper Rotary logo. Use social media. And even for those who aren't public image aware, or, I got to say this, there's this fallacy in Rotary that, oh, that's someone else's job. I'm not the PR director, or I'm not the public image person this year. I'm not the president this year. I'm not the secretary this year. That's someone else's job. No. How we can all help? We are all the key to Rotary's public image. We are all. It's all our jobs to help spread the message a bit better. But remembering too, we are Rotary, the original social network. That's why Paul Harris and his 3 other mates decided to start Rotary, because they wanted some networking, and so we're the original social network. If you are on social media and you haven't followed me yet, please, I welcome you to follow me out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all the rest of it. And everything that I post on my social media pages are free for Rotarians to use if it can help inspire others and help put some good content out on your own club pages. I put stuff out there nearly every single day, and there are plenty of other resources out there that can help you along the way too. So it's not just having for you all to do it all by yourself. You can get out there and start sharing. So that was my little presentation. I'm not sure how much time we've got left, but if it's possible, I'd love to answer any questions that you have. If not, I can go back to bed. Oh, you're muted. Everyone's muted still.
Yeah.
Hey, Evan, this is Stan Keeler. I'm currently the district membership chair, and I just want to thank you for everything that you've done over the past few years to highlight the importance of social media. It's been great to see you and the effect that you've had.
Thank you. Cheers. Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. I'm loved and loathed. I'm in equal measure, Stan. So I'm of the black and white type of, no gray areas with me. People are either love what I do or they hate what I do. But maybe there's a bit of jealousy involved in that too. But who knows? Who knows? I feel like I'm one of these guys that just happens to be good at sending out the message, and I feel like I'm just driving a big truck that has the sort of big advertising truck that has Rotary plastered all over it, and all I am is the man just driving that truck from place to place, and people are looking at the message. So yeah,
it's good to get their attention.
It is indeed.
Yeah,
you are everywhere. I think you've got over 30,000 followers on Facebook, something like that.
Pretty close to it, and about 3,000 people or so on Instagram, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But and that's great. It can be a bit laborious task to have so many people follow you. I've got to put stuff out that keeps people interested. So I've created a rod from my own back. But the thing is, if some of the stuff that I put out people aren't thinking of, or it's as I said, it's outside the box, and outside the box, stuff kind of it gets people's attention. For example, just today, a Rotarian who I know in Canada, a couple of years ago, she had some M&Ms, a big bag of or however many M&Ms. She went to the M&M website, and you can print messages on the M&Ms. So instead of the standard M&M, you could put a little something on there, obviously small enough because it's on M&M, but you could put the little rotary wheel in black on the M&M, and then something else, conference or Rotary or whatever. And so she got them made, and that was a great public image campaign, and to give out at events or whatever else and things like that. So these are the sorts of things that people aren't sort of thinking of, which once they see it, oh wow, we can do that too. So that's the whole good thing about sort of my mindset, is just encouraging those sorts of thought processes.
Well, as Rocky on here will tell you, I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but one thing I do like about Rotary, you can plagiarize good ideas from people all the time.
Yeah.
So Rocky's our polio expert, been at it for a good while. In fact, he was on this morning with some folks in Australia, weren't you, Rocky?
Yeah, I was. In fact, Evan, I wanted to ask you, I noticed in your PowerPoint, you had an award that was given by Bob Aiken.
Yes.
Is Bob in your area of Australia?
Yeah, he is. Bob's in my district. I've known Bob for 22 years. He is a mentor of mine, a great guy, good champion of mine, lovely man.
Well, say
And
hello
very
to him
involved in
for me.
polio.
We are on about 2 or 3 calls a month together
Oh,
because
wow.
we're both team leaders in polio.
Okay. So
And
you're sharing the
generally,
phone call
I'm
with Mike
talking
McGovern
to
and
him.
stuff, or?
Yeah, I'm generally talking to him at about 8 o'clock my time in the morning, which is about 11 o'clock at night his time. So he snores a lot through some of those calls, but he's a good person.
He is a good
Known him
person.
for
Well,
several
well,
years.
if you'll probably speak to him more than I would, but you know, you could certainly say you've had Evan from your district come and speak to the club, so I'm sure he'd get a kick out of that.
I'll do it. In fact, we'll be on a call a little later this week or early next. I
Oh,
forgot
perfect.
now.
Yeah, you said
Yeah,
Evan,
I'll
the Rotary
mention
superhero. He'll know who I am.
Good.
Evan, I want to thank you. I don't want to take too much of more of your time because I know you want to get some sleep. But I do want to thank you, and I was sincere when I said you got a place to stay here. If you ever get out this way, come see us. We'd love to have you. We're on the coast of North Carolina. Plenty to see.
Yeah.
Lots to do.
That's awesome. Well, hey, look, you know, work on your incoming governors, and you know, I love. There's nothing better than for me to attend a Rotary conference where I can do some similar presentation out in my suit and you know, press the flesh, as they say. And yeah, I'd. In 2023, hopefully I'll be out in the United States there, to a few conferences, and if it can work in well, I'd love to come down and visit, and yeah, just gotta give me some reasons to get there.
We've got a fully
Give
stocked
us some
bar.
notice and we'll make it work.
Yeah, well, hey, look to 2023 or wherever or beyond. You know, I'll work in with Eva.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you do for Rotary, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us.
I appreciate that, and thank you all for listening.
You bet. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you very much.
Well, I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your night, and if that's it, I'm gonna log off.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly. Lovely all to see you all. Nice to meet you all
Yeah,
too.
we'll
and,
say good night. You
and
say good
encourage,
morning to you.
Sorry? What was
Good
that?
morning, Evan.
Oh,
Go to
good
bed.
morning. Yeah, indeed. Good morning.